If you brought a token of memorial for a pet that is no longer with us in physical form, to place on the altar, please bring those forward and place them during this next song. And I'm going to light the candles during this next song as well. And these tokens and photographs that will show up here are to memorialize animals that we have loved but are no longer in our physical presence, but whose energy remains with us always. So let's open the song altar with a song, and then we'll have a prayer.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings, learn to fly. Yes, please sing along. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes, learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the night of the dark black night. So the reading I've chosen today is from John O'Donohue, To Bless the Space Between Us, a book of blessings. This one's called On Animal Being. Nearer to the earth's heart, deeper within its silence, animals know this world in a way we never will. We who are ever distant and distracted by the parade of bright windows thought opens. Their seamless presence is not fractured thus. Stranded between time gone and time emerging, we manage seldom to be where we are, whereas they are always looking out from the here and now. May we learn to return and rest in the beauty of animal being. Learn to lean low, leave our locked minds, and with freed senses feel the earth breathing with us. May we enter into lightness of spirit and slip frequently into the feel of the wild. Let the clear silence of our animal being cleanse our hearts of corrosive words. May we learn to walk upon the earth with all their confidence and clear-eyed stillness, so that our minds might be baptized in the name of the wind and light and the rain.
Today is dedicated to looking at the very special blessing that animals bring to our lives. Not only are we going to bless the animals that are gracing our lives with their presence, but we're going to examine the blessing that animals bring to us as human beings. It's our intention this morning to gather in honor of all creatures, great and small, those present today and those who've transitioned into another plane of existence, for both are the presence of the divine in our lives. That's just the way it is. So why do we do an animal blessing? You know, I, like most pet owners, believe that animals have a soul. The late James Herriot says it this way: if having a soul means being able to feel loyal and love and gratitude, then animals are better off than a lot of human beings. So what is your experience with animals? Think for a moment about all the animals that have been a part of your life. I know Michelle did part of that in her meditation. You know, what animals have been a part of your life? You know, perhaps you had pets as a child. Or perhaps you lived in a rural setting where you had lots of different kinds of experiences with different kinds of animals. Some people grow up and the animals just are a constant presence no matter where they kind of move in their world. Some of you are interested in just domesticated animals only, and some of you are very interested in wild animals and conservation of other kinds of creatures, perhaps photographing them or preserving them in some way. And all of us have been to zoos and other animal sanctuaries where we've gotten to interact with these animals being cared for by human beings to kind of preserve them for us to enjoy. But the truth is we are all in relationship with animals, whether we consider ourselves an animal or a pet person or not. Animals grace our day with their presence, whether we have them in our homes or not. Here in Florida, I've had to learn a lot about different kinds of animals since moving here. I've become in constant relationship with these little lizards, geckos, I'm not quite sure what they're called, but they're darting constantly, and my dog Darby is a great little lizard hunter. Sometimes she succeeds, and that's heartbreaking for me. And actually, I'll tell you, when I came in the door this morning, a little tiny lizard darted in. And I was like, oh no, that will not be good. So I kind of hurried him back out the door. But we're always noticing different seabirds and different kinds of animals that I haven't been able to see in other places that I've lived. I love when they gather in flocks along the waterways, and turtles cross the road. I've saved a couple of turtles since I've lived here. I just have to stop. I'm sorry, it's just one of those things. And I actually like seeing the alligators lying in the sun near the water, trying to warm their blood. It's interesting, and I especially like the dragonflies that are here and are plentiful. And I won't talk about love bugs, but there are constant animal noises in our daily lives too. Dogs are barking, and cats are mewing, and birds are singing and squawking, and frogs are making whatever the noise is that they make. But there's a story from centuries ago actually, about a wise old bishop who was taught a lesson by a frog. So his name was Saint Benno, and he was walking in the fields praying, as bishop saints are wont to do. And this noisy frog kept interrupting him, this bellowing or whatever song. I can't do it, but they make it. So finally, the bishop ordered the frog to be quiet, and the frog ceased his croaking. I'm kind of constantly amazed that animals obey in these kinds of stories, but nonetheless, that's a point for another day. But anyway, St. Benno was walking then in the silence, and he began to wonder if God might not find the frog's song just as, if not more, agreeable than his own. So he commanded the frog to sing again, and the air was then filled with the prayers of the priest, but also of the frog. And God heard them all. So what if the voices of the animals are prayers just as our own words and thoughts are prayers? What if all of nature is in constant communication with the divine source of life, just as we are in every single moment? I too have always had animals in my life. I believe that animals come from spirit and bring the essence of spirit into our homes and into the world, and then they return to a less physical form of spiritual existence, just as we as humans do as well. And there are simply life lessons that we can learn more easily in the presence of an animal rather than a fellow human being. Many metaphysicians believe that animals come into our lives for mutual evolving, that your animal is serving your consciousness as it evolves, and our consciousness is serving theirs as they evolve as well. So teaching is mutual, always on a spiritual path. So if an animal is in your relationship with you, then it is a mutually beneficial relationship, or it simply wouldn't be. That would be the spiritual truth of that. So what is your animal teaching you? Perhaps your animal teaches you some of these things. What if your animal is teaching you and showing you how to be fully present in this given moment? to find joy in every little thing and delight in it. Animals teach us to forgive instantly and completely any human misstep. Animals teach us to dig until you find what you want. Animals teach us to not take ourselves too seriously and to be wise enough to know that where there is water and when there is water, get wet, and when there is space, either run enthusiastically or stretch luxuriously. Take up the space. They teach us to let people touch you and feed you and look into your eyes. They teach us to love deeply and, very importantly, to allow ourselves to be deeply loved. So let us honor our sacred animal teachers this morning. So to begin our blessing experience this morning, I want to start with the altar. Vicky's going to play a little underneath. All major religions of the world praise creation and acknowledge that humankind depends on nature for its own survival. They also teach compassion and love of all living creatures, and nearly all religions recognize the inherent value of animal life. And they teach the need to avoid animal suffering. As long as there have been humans and animals sharing this planet, there have been sacred relationships between. So as we open the altar this morning, I want to share how animals are recognized in religious texts and scriptures, and we can honor the universal reverence for all creatures, great and small. So here on the altar, we have lit a candle to honor the faiths around the world. The first candle is lit for Hinduism. In this Eastern religion, nature is held as sacred. Human beings are not considered more significant than any other living thing, and animal souls are the same as human souls in the Hindu faith. All are progressing to higher levels of consciousness in each lifetime. The Bhagavad Gita, which is their holy text, verse 5 and 18, proclaims that a self-realized soul is able to understand the equality of all beings. Therefore, Hinduism stresses doing what is beneficial to all creatures. We honor the faith of the Hindu people. Next, we have lit a candle for all forms of Buddhism. Buddhism is based upon a universal idea of compassion for all life. A man is holy if he has reverence for all living creatures. Buddhism stresses that sentient beings are subject to rebirth, and consciousness is interconnected in all living beings. We honor the faith of the Buddhist culture. The third candle is lit in honor of Judaism. The Hebrew scriptures teach that God made covenants with animals as well as humans, and Judaism embraces the Hebrew mandate to prevent the sorrow of living creatures. There's a deep reverence for life, and animals, like people, must rest on the Sabbath. We honor Jewish law today. Fourth, this candle is for the sacred teaching of Islam. Islamic writings provide kindness to all living creatures. The Quran teaches that animals should be given equal consideration to humans, and the Holy Prophet Muhammad in the Muslim writings said, "It behooves you to treat the animals gently, and all creatures are like family to God." And he went on to proclaim, "A good deed done to an animal is as meritorious as a good deed done to a human being." The Prophet Muhammad. The fifth candle is for Christianity, and Christianity has had many voices over the centuries regarding animals. St. Francis of Assisi, the Catholic patron saint of animals, viewed animals as his brothers and sisters. And similarly, in the Greek Orthodox Church, St. Modestus was also known as the patron saint of animals. In Proverbs 12 and 10, the Bible says, "The righteous care for the needs of their animals." And in the book of Job 12, 7 and 8 says, "But ask now the beasts, and they shall teach thee, and the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee. Or speak to the earth, and it shall teach thee, and the fishes of the sea shall declare unto thee." We light a candle to honor all forms of Christianity. And we light a candle for the Baha'i. Abdul-Bahad, son of the Prophet Baha'u'llah, wrote, "Then, O ye friends of God, you must not only have kind and merciful feelings for mankind, but you should also exercise the utmost kindness towards every living creature." We honor the traditions of the Baha'i faith. And the next candle is for the shamanic traditions. This is the way of the indigenous people, which honors all forms of life, all of nature as sacred. All animate and inanimate objects are related to the divine and command respect. All animals must be treated with respect, as we are one with them under shamanic faith. And the next candle, the eighth one, is for new thought. In our teaching, we recognize that all is divine, and everything is formed of the same spiritual energy. Animals are no exception, and we truly know that the life that animates all things is the life of God. So select a candle as the ninth candle. It is a healing candle. I invite you to place into this light any animals you may be aware of that are suffering due to physical challenges, entrapment, vanishing homeland, or any other experiences that you see as needing transformation on behalf of an animal. And the final candle we light as a memorial candle. Let me pause and remind you of a universal truth that we all know. Animals are not forever. Actually, no relationships are. But we especially feel the brevity of the relationship with the creatures we love so dearly. Many of you are here today honoring and remembering a pet that is no longer in physical form. These spiritual connections last forever and continue to bless us even now. If you've placed an altar item in memory of a beloved animal, I invite you to stand during this part of the ceremony as I call their names, and may the sweetness of their memory embrace you as you stand. This morning, we are blessing the memory and spiritual essence of Phineas, Petey and Pepper, Mackie, Tika, Seven and Rosie, Sierra, Emma, and Tootsie. Let us take a moment of silence to remember those very loved pets that we can only enjoy in the spiritual essence of their presence. And as you are seated, let us pray. In this moment, I recognize the presence of the divine love in our hearts and minds this morning. I know that this love shows up in each picture on our altar, in the flickering flames of faith, and in the memories that we all hold dear. I am so thankful for the divine energy that shows up in these beautiful, beloved animals. And I know that that love hovers about us, filling our energy field with that divine presence, even when they are no longer with us. I'm so thankful for the relationships that we have with our beloved pets and know that they live on in our hearts and minds forever. I call Spirit's blessings sweet and good in each and every memory. I let it go and let it be. And so it is.
And so it is.
And in honor of St. Francis of Assisi, I would like to read his prayer. He's known as the patron saint of all creatures. And I want to honor his tradition of blessing the animals. His prayer says, "Lord, make us an instrument of your peace. Peace. Hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is discord, union. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. So now, we've come to the time for the blessing of the animals that are with us in physical form at this time. Either in absentia, waiting patiently for you at home, which is fine, or present right here with us today. So as you bring your animals up individually, or as a family if you want, I will bless them and I will bless you as their human companions. I have some rows of Sharon oil from Jerusalem to anoint your hands. And I'm not going to anoint your pet, but if you want to anoint your pet, that would be great. That's beautiful. And if your pet is waiting for you at home, you can come have your hands blessed anyway and anointed as their companion. That would be great. I know that each animal in the room and each animal in the heart of anyone in this room is a divine expression of spirit. And I know that each and every one of them is infused right here and right now with God's love and light, vitality and joy. I know that as I anoint each loving human hand, that I'm calling forth a blessed relationship with their beloved pet. And as they continue on a perfect path together, moving forward together. So I'm going to call forward these animals and their human companions. I'm going to start with this section. So here's what we're going to do. Come this way and bring your animals and go back down this aisle. So kind of make a circle. You'll figure it out. We'll continue with this section and then we'll do this section. So if you have animals here today, that's awesome. Or if you just want to come have your hands blessed as an animal lover, that's fine too. But we'll start over here. So we're just kind of making this up as we go along. So come. You keep playing. No, you got put away, right?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
And so I will close with this written spiritual mind treatment for all creatures, big and small. Let's pray. The divine spirit God is the one presence, unconditional love itself, master, creator of all things great and small. Therefore, it is operating in, as, and through all of its creation equally. That one presence is operating in, as, and through me at all times as unconditional love, as compassion, as peace and joy. As I am one with all that is, then I know that I am perfect, whole, and complete. That one presence is also operating in, as, and through these beloved animals as perfect representations of the entire animal kingdom. I now speak my word for each animal here, knowing that his or her being is perfect, whole, and complete, well-being itself, healed and whole and holy. I honor each one for bringing the wisdom of the animal kingdom and the manifestation of the unconditional love of God into our homes and hearts. Their very presence draws us more deeply into the larger circle of life, of the awareness of God's perfection, into the wonder of our common relationship with all that is. As God guides each human companion in the loving care of these animals, I know it teaches them to be a good companion and responsible steward to all sentient beings on earth. I now accept that responsibility, as does each one here. We accept all that is required of us to know this divine expression of life with unconditional love, compassion, and joy. I claim and accept that the love and peace of God is operating right now in the lives of all animals who are beyond this room, for the lost, the sick, the abused, and frightened, and that perfect home, the ideal outcome, well-being, and highest good for all is upon them now. I claim and accept that the one presence itself, peace and unconditional love, are operating in, as, and through their caretakers, fully ready to be revealed in their hands and hearts. I am grateful for this shift in consciousness, for all that God teaches me through its creation, and for the love that God so abundantly reveals to me through its animal kingdom. I am grateful for the healing, well-being, and peace now vibrating throughout all animals, including human animals. I release this word into the universal law of mind, knowing that as I do so, it returns to me already done in absolute perfection. So I give thanks as I bless this word. I let it go, and I let it be. And so it is, and so it is.